Alright, so in this video we have Brendan Schaub discussing the beef he had with Joe Rogan a few weeks ago about the UFC 279 conspiracy theory. If you're not familiar with their beef, I made a few videos talking about it, but basically Brendan thought there was some conspiracy theory behind the weigh-ins during UFC 279, and Joe just thought he was crazy for thinking that, and he said Brendan needed a handler.
Like piranhas.
It's so dumb. I didn't talk to him about that, but first of all, he's wrong.
Yeah, he's
wrong about the theory. Look, Brendan's my boy, but he needs a handler. Yeah. He needs someone like me around him all the time. What are you going to do? No.
Yeah.
Here's why.
Yeah.
And he'll go, yeah, you're right.
And then Brendan responded to this, and he obviously wasn't too happy about it, but he's mostly just going after Dana White. So on the most recent Fighter and the Kid podcast, he talked about this a little bit, and it starts with him talking about Kanye, and it's pretty hilarious because, of course, Brendan's like, yeah, I see Kanye all the time. Well, at first he's like, yeah, I see Kanye from time to time. I see him all the time. You know, there's no difference to Brendan. He sees you once. You guys could be best friends. Like, during all the Bobby Lee drama, he was claiming that Bobby is one of his closest friends. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, him and Brian are threatening his career.
Bobby Lee is one of my closest friends. Me and Bobby talk all. No one's been more supportive when I started than Bobby Lee, dude.
And it seems like he can never finish a sentence. I don't know if he just cuts himself off because he knows that it just sounds ridiculous, or because he's Brendan and he's just confused sometimes.
What you need is a better team around you. You have all the resources in the world. And I see Kanye. You know this from time to time. I see him all the time. The people around you should be ashamed of themselves that they allowed you to do
I don't think
he's
he's controllable, Bubba. I think the minute you tell him what to do, you get fired. I don't think that the problem with power like that is you surround yourself with people who are looking for a paycheck and they just know they're dealing with crazy and they just yes you to death.
So they get the money. But that's the problem.
Brian's definitely right here. I don't think anybody's really getting through to Kanye. I don't want to get into all that drama too much, but I think it's going to take a lot for him to change his mind. And like they said, I'm sure he just surrounds himself with yes men, like most people do, that become insanely famous. So then after this, Brendan starts talking about how Joe is able to handle criticism, and if one of his friends disagrees with what he has to say, they can call him up and he'll listen to them and maybe change his opinion. And I guess they all just do that for each other, and that's how they get into talking about the beef that Brendan had with Joe. I guess Joe called him up afterwards and talked to him about it, and Brendan now is claiming that it was all just a joke, but I feel like that's something Joe told him to say.
But even Rogan has more money than God, but if Rogan posts anything, you can call Rogan up, like, what are you doing? He'll be like, God, you're fucking right, dude. That was a mistake. I've had times where, like, Rogan...
We'd all do that for each other. Well, like, if I say you've done that...
And I've done it to you. Yeah. You've done it to me multiple times. Rogan did to me, like, when I was... And this got so out of hand with the conspiracy with Dana and stuff like that.
Yeah, you were joking around.
Joking around, that just got out of hand.
Like, you were trying to create
But then when you put me against the wall, I'm like, hold on here, dude.
Yeah, it did not sound like Brendan was joking around when he first talked about it, but maybe it was like a cry for help to try to get Joe's attention or something. But Brendan is right. It was a good way to just stir up some controversy and get people talking about him. And a lot of people did actually believe in the conspiracy theory, but then I think once people realized that Brendan believed in it, they stopped talking about it. And then also Brendan did that whole stand-up thing talking about Dana, which was pretty funny. And that Instagram post that he made going after Dana, obviously like people goofed on him and Joe got pissed, but it was pretty funny and people are talking about it, so it's not that bad. And it seemed like he enjoyed it. It sounded like something he was running with. And I think he really likes going after Dana and trying to get under his skin. But then also this did lead to Joe talking about how Brendan needs a handler, which Brendan was obviously not too happy about, because then, as we'll see right here, Brendan talks about how he called Joe and he's like, dude, that's not cool. You shouldn't have said that.
I don't believe all this, but if I were going to, that's what I do.
That's right.
And then Dana picks it up and I do stuff, and even Rogan was like, what are you doing, dude? Why would, and you're gonna make a bit about it? I'm like, and he can't, like, for me, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, I still don't dislike Dana. Yeah. I have fun. He goes, don't do that one. All right, you're right. And then when he goes on the show and goes, oh, Brendan needs a handler. And my friends and family call me like, Rogan said you need a handler. I called him. I texted him. I tried calling him, text him. I was like, hey, are you shitting me, dude? Handler? And then he wrote me this long thing like, you're right, shouldn't have said that, blah, blah. And he gave me his reason. I went, I know, but you don't need, he goes, you're right, you shouldn't have said that. I go, you're not helping my cause, dude. I'm already fighting a good fight here. You're not helping me. And he's like, you're right, won't do it again. I was like, yeah, I would never do that to you, ever do.
So it sounds like Joe kind of apologized to Brendan for it, even though who the hell knows what really happened, because Brendan never really tells the truth. He always kind of changes up the story a little bit. But it's funny that all his friends and family were telling him right away, like, dude, Joe just said you needed a handler. Like, it's this big news. And then Brendan couldn't even get Joe to answer the call, it sounds like. He had to text him. That sucks. But I think Joe is probably just too busy playing grab ass with Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm not the one playing grab ass with Mark Zuckerberg, letting him rent out Thick Boy Studios.
I love that shit. That was from when Brendan was responding to Joe saying that he needed a handler. And of course, during that rant, he never really goes after Joe directly. He just keeps saying your boy needs a handler.
Or does your boy need a handler?
So who knows if this beef is actually settled, like Brendan claims it is right here, but who really knows? I hope Brendan continues making jokes about the UFC, because it does help get attention and everything and stir up drama. And also, like I said in some previous videos, Jake Paul, he also hates the UFC like crazy, so maybe he could get on Jake Paul's podcast. I think he just started one, and maybe they just complain about the UFC the whole time. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think Brendan was joking, if you think this beef is over between him and Joe. Let me know down in the comments. Then make sure you hit the like button. Then make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I'll catch you at the next video.
Or does your boy need a handler? I'm not the one